Let's talk about the build. So we are an acolyte that go in a warlock. We're concentrated on the curse damage, like a little bit of a build summary, and then we're gonna talk about a little bit of my impression of the game. So acolyte, curse damage. What we have as the main skills here, we have the spirit plague, which is curse an enemy. We have a Kasunic Fissure, which is damage every time, curses, and we have Soul Feast for a better chance to for some survivability, which is not really that much of survivability, since as skills we working on the Bone Curse, and we casting Burn Curse we are Chthonic Bolts, especially good against chunky enemies. And we also have Transplanter's mobility skill here, which is good at escaping some tricky situations. So the build itself is pretty tanky. It's have a lot of damage. Most of everything we were just flatlining on the spot, right? So being a necromancer at the warlock at the days, we're getting 5% more damage per curse on a target, and more necrotic resistance, 35%, which is we can use it to utilize the necrotic resistance in order to get even more powerful. For example, for the fissure here dealing more damage with the more necrotic resistance you had, the torment, that's the curse damage. So basically, we were killing everything in an instant with this build. Being an elite, being a boss. Okay, boss maybe took 2 seconds, 3 seconds, depending on what kind of boss we're talking. If we're talking about their Ouroboros shades on corruption 12 or 16 corruption, this would took 20 seconds to kill. Basically. So let's talk about passive skills. Let's talk about gear, what kind of gear you want for this guy, what kind of item base, what kind of affixes you want to roll on your gear, what kind of like passives we have on this, and so on. Let's start with the passives. Passives like more and the easy way to talk about. So we only need 22 or 20 points on Acolyte in order to get to Warlock Mastery. Well, as well as complete their specific quests from campaign to change your class into unlock Warlock. Forbidden Knowledge. Max it out, intelligence, necrotic resistance, damage scaling with intelligence here. Right, so this is our stats, this is our passive stats. Spell damage increased to 133, necrotic damage 305, and damage over time 500. Both of these are what our Spirit Plague and Kasunic Fissure type of damage they're dealing. We have a chaos damage, fire damage on the chaos bolts over here. We have a little bit of chaos damage here, but it's also more of necrotic damage too. So we have all the resistances higher than max most of the time. We have armor, have additional armor when we jump in, so 24% armor absorption, and mana regen 16, health regen 21. Intelligence 83, so every point of intelligence, if you're looking at the skill closely, this skill increase in intelligence giving you 332%. That's what we're getting from intelligence. But further on you go in, there's Spirit Plague especially scaling very well with intelligence, alright, because of their specifics. So, but we did realize that intelligence also, in terms of the affixes you want on items, is more of a less of intelligence, but more of necrotic damage, like damage over time. We're gonna be talking about that a little bit later. Let's talk about continue with our passives. So intelligence good for my health, vitality good for my survivability, A ward is like most of the time my ward the enemies can get even through my ward, be it elite or be it at boss, we just stay in there face tanking, and they can't even get through my ward because I generated more ward and attack on and stuff than they can get through. That's how the builds work. But we need the ward retention and stuff for getting that as much ward as we can. So Warlock Masteries, damage over time here, more damage over time with for 5 points with the curses. Maxed out Chaos Flame as one of the last things we did. Getting increased mana regeneration. This build was a little bit mana hungry, so we utilizing some items for giving me more mana and mana regen. At least one weapon when we can go into a pure damage. But we do need that additional mana regen greatly. As like I say, this mana hungry, especially when you go in running through the area, killing everything, and you need to cast the Kasunic Future often, like every 2 seconds. That's where all the mana goes. So we have 3 points into Unholy Tournament for curse damage. More intelligence here, and more mana per intelligence with Occultist Mind. That's like another source of my mana. Right, have a little bit of a leech here. Have a little bit of ward generation here. We don't use it in channeling, but we get an award on a kill, good against when there's a lot of small enemies dying instantaneously, and we get an ward delay threshold based on your necrotic resistance. So that's where that huge energy shield is going from. So we have 1800 spirit ward generated here. And ward retention is 408, so that's like what we get in just by generating word for staying, not doing anything. It's usually more when we start killing or attacking enemies. Armor health here a little bit to get this damage taken less per curse on a target. Alright. The Visor, very important skill here. We've taken less damage also from a Visor, and Visor chance on hit 100%. Encroaching Darkness into getting the most spell damage for curses over here from Duskbringer, giving me more damage overall. 3 points into the cleanse here. So another survival mechanic. When damage leaves below 35% of your health, cleanse all curses from enemies and get ward from that curse, 100 word per curse, which is supposed to be helping a lot with your survivability, but most of enemies, like a late game, just killing me with 1 hit. We didn't die that often, but 99% and 9 of the game is just, like I say, going through, not dying, not even taking the damage to my health, and then suddenly some elite happening, which is gonna go and one-shot you, especially when on the highest arena rounds. So we just played arena level tier 90, right? Go endless arena tier 90, and there's enemies over there where most of them were able to one-shot me if I'm not dodging, and we ran myself in a situation where I couldn't dodge. Also, Vitality, Intelligence, more damage, more survivability over here. This concludes our passive points. Let's see how we spread there, or actually, before going to more detailed into actual skills, let's talk about what I want from a gear, what item bases, and what actual affixes we want for this build. So the Profane Wand over here, a good base for you to craft on. Alright, it's giving us necrotic spell damage and giving increased curse damage. And this is one of the items we use in mana regen and more mana on with tier 6 prefix here. So this is helping me actually, like with this combination with my mana regen 16 and 266 mana, we not running out of mana whatever we're doing. Unless we spamming the Chthonic Fissure every second, which is a mistake because It's something that you put it on the ground there versus enemies, and then yeah, we never show your damage, right? There's arena here, you can show your damage of this. You see like 30k somewhere, 29k and 49k. That's like what we're doing after we curse on enemies. So like up to 40 something k per hit. That's the damage of the build. Right. So but yeah, let's back to the item we are discussing. So the wand here, a profane wand, a very good base to craft wand. When it's coming to affix, what we need for the prefix, we want spell damage, we want necrotic damage, we want a damage over time. Sometimes we want intelligence, but mostly it's three stuff, and sometimes with this wand over here we want increased mana regen. So for helmet I'm using a unique one, the Bone Claimer Bear Brute. Is giving you more armor, it's giving you that intelligence, necrotic resistance, and ward per capped necrotic resistance. So that's if you don't have this one, you can get the good helmets here are for base Revenant Mask. Revenant Mask, the armor, a good amount of armor, some endurance, and yeah, you definitely can use this, or this Raven's Crown, which is giving you spell damage as well, so it's improving your damage overall. I would say like this one is a little better over a little bit of armor, because you're getting damage always better to kill everything before they can get to you. So for the ring doesn't really matter for me, but this iron ring, good because of uncapped necrotic resistance and more ward. So you basically want two of them, but there's a good rings that can give you oh my god, spell damage, like vitality for more health, that can give you resistances. We actually want this Jura ring, make it into legendary, the Jura standard legendary, but we didn't roll a good one. Didn't roll the one with spell potential. So this one you can get from Chronomancer Jura guarantee. It's a dungeon of what is it called? Oh my god, Temporal Sanctum dungeon. All right. So Temporal Sanctum over here. After completing it, you get a guarantee. This Necromancer Jura ring. It's definitely the best one for a build so far, but it's really hard to craft the legendary one you need to get this damage over time and spell damage and necrotic damage on a ring like we have on this one, right? This one with spell damage and necrotic damage, like you see. So that's when it's come to affixes. To rather say the prefixes. When it's coming to suffix, if we want to get some resistances out of here, like necrotic resistance pretty much, but there's also like void resistance, there's also penetration, like necrotic penetration. We don't have anything like this over here, do we? But that's one of the affixes. Okay, there's penetration for this. Necrotic penetration, that's one of the good suffix to get for your items. So what else we have? Oracle Amulet. I wouldn't say it's a good amulet to have in terms of the base. Doesn't really matter, but it's doing the job, giving me a damage over time and a spell damage. Right? Opulent Focus. One of the good catalysts. Word per second, intelligence, and intelligence was actually one of the other prefixes we want to get on an item. We have a Revenant Plate here as a base item, also very good. Armor, and this one also have a good prefix to very rare one, which is giving you +3 levels to fissure, right? 3 fissure, and it's giving you increased damage over time at the same time. So we have 12 intelligence on it. I probably prefer more of like necrotic damage too, but that's how it is. Then we have the belt here, poison resistance, cold resistance, very good. Spiral 6 slash for your resistances, right? And well, it didn't happens to have like didn't roll a good affix here in terms of fire damage, could be better, but we have at least necrotic damage for it. The boots here, again, vitality damage, increased cooldown, recovery speed, could be better. I prefer this Solarium Greaves over them, which is like better armor value and fire resistance, but it's like you can the armor here, 60 armor, not gonna do a Vaza for you, so you can choose the one who giving you better overall elemental resistance. The gloves, plated gauntlets, a very good one for me as a base, and basically the curse bones, also a good base over here, increased curse damage. And again, we didn't roll for a good one here. We tried to craft it today, 3 of these cursed bones, and brick all of 3 items. So that's more or less about item base and about suffixes and affixes you want on it. There's idols over here. You want idols with some necrotic damage. But you also like want to supplement the lack of your resistances with other idols. Alright, so like you see my resistances all are capped and over capped, especially when it's talking about necrotic resistance, because necrotic resistance not only provided me more of a shield here, but also increasing my damage with the skills. And let's talk about that. The main skill here is Kasunic Fissure here. Yeah, because we remove the armor plate out here, it's removes some skull. So Kasunic Fissure is advancing the dealing damage. 8300 DPS, but it's not real DPS. The real DPS even better. The real DPS with like torment skills. So it's we have mana efficiency on it, and some mana are found. We're dealing more damage to bosses here. Basically, especially double this damage when bosses cursed. 48% more damage with this to bosses and elites. We have chance for a torment. It's your curse and damage over time to spread on other enemies when the enemies are dying. So this is like increasing the reach of their your Chthonic Fissure. Next we have Damned Waters. This spirit hit inflicted enemies with Damned debuff as well. Damned is like they're reducing the health regen and do some damage over time, necrotic damage over time. And lastly we have Twisted Waves here in that tree. So the torments deal more damage per my uncapped necrotic resistances. 2% per 3 damage for 2% of necrotic resistance, 3%. So that's where the big damage is coming for. As well as the shred ability, have stacks 3 stacks of shred that every time the spirit hit an enemy, which is like minus 15 necrotic resistance. We have also a necrotic resistance shred in other skills. Alright, we have like so the one that's coming from items, one coming from this passive skill, and there was another coming from Burn Curse, which is gonna get there later. So Chthonic Fissure, we have more spears, more frequency of the spears coming out from Necrotic Fissure, and you saw it's like just they came in so fast out of here. They came in so fast, they just bombarding enemies without relentlessly bombarding enemies. And lastly, what do we have here? There of Gloom and Flames. Basically, you're making your fissure bigger, twice as bigger, casting 2 fissures in one cast, and all of those fissures, all of the spears with the fissure can hit the same enemy in double in your actual DPS with the fissure. Another skill we keep in here for cursing is Spirit Plague. Spirit Plague also have a lot of DPS per second, 8700s. We have the Pestilence on it. So the more of the cursed enemies you have, maximum 13, the more damage you're dealing with other skills, the damage over time. And damage over time scales with Kasunic Fissure too. So basically it means 15% by 13 more damage when you have certain stack of Spirit Plague on enemies. Have more damage over here, 30%. We have Spread on Hit. We had Ward Gain it. When you hit an enemy with that is afflicted by the Spirit Plague, and your spirits, like from Kasunic Fissures, hitting them pretty often, especially with boss or elites we're talking about, then you're getting this 12 ward per hit, and this is generating me so much ward. Hindered Affliction, slow. We have Frailty. Frailty is reduced damage dealt by enemy by 6%, and it can stack 3 times. So basically 80% less damage from this. And more importantly, we have Plagues of Ice. Spirit Plague have additional spell necrotic damage for each point of intelligence. So that's how it's scaling with intelligence more than actual Kasunic Fissure. Contagions, mana cost, but casting area, that's a pretty important one, and increasing area of the cast over there. Also as much as doing something with the mana efficiency. Next we have Kasunic Balls over here. We actually did run with Harvest for basically half of the game, which has also provided less damage, but it was mana efficient because it got more mana, and we were struggling with mana at the beginning, so the Harvest was a good skill to start with the build with, and it's provided more survivability to her. But now we pretty much can do the same thing with the Chaos Bolt, but getting even more damage out of them, more DPS, and some casting of the curses. So what we have for the Chaos Bolts, we have more casting speed, we have increase of area of affix, and additional projectile. We also have more damage per hit. We have a Reaper Mayhem, so we casting Harvest up to 3 times, scaling with, per second, scaling with Dexterity, and we have a little bit of Dexterity for this to work pretty frequently, I would say so. Have like 11 Dexterity, 11% chance happen actually frequently. So we have, if you hit cursed enemies, we restore health and getting more mana with this, with Devouring. So basically, you always have enemies who curse either from Plague or Kasunic Fissure as another ability that can improve my mana efficiency there. Pursuit of Chaos, chance to recast my Chaos Bolts, which is casting them faster. Pretty good stuff, pretty good stuff. Cursed Blood, your Chaos Bolt hit refreshes the duration of your curses on enemies and grants you health per curse. Right, so like if you have a lot of curses, you're hitting them with Chaos Bolts, you don't even cast any more curses, you just continuously Chaos Bolt in the enemy, the boss enemy, and getting more health and refreshing the curses. And there's another very important skill over here, another affliction. Chaos Bolt is hits against cursed enemy, casts Burn Curse on them. Its Burn Curse usually lasts in 8 seconds, and cooldown for this is 6 seconds. So when you're fighting against chunky enemies, you can, the boss, if it's not an instant kill, you can recast in this, keeping the Burn Curse on them as well as another part of the curse. What else we have? A little bit of damage with fire, a little bit of ignite chains, and we have the burn here, skill duration extension. That's like the best I can think of to get into Chaos Bolt. The most important stuff like this, another Affliction, and 1 mana per hit, and the Cursed Blood. So there's go the Cursed Bone that you're not using as a main skill, because we're using a Soul Feast out of it. By the Burn Curse, the most important about it is having this Sigil of Mortality. Casting Mark of Death for 2 seconds. Mark of Death meaning enemy resistances reduced by 25%. And we can improve in duration of Mark of Death to 4 seconds. So this is pretty good. It's pretty good. Increasing area here, reducing enemy armor shred, right? And getting more armor when I get in the armor shred. Sometimes, but my Marrow Sieve Bone Armor, the main source of bone armor for me is actually their transplant. When you're doing transplant, getting this 300% armor. It's not a big deal, but it's helping a little bit. So transplant, another skill we use as mobility, as escape, and it's actually dealing some damage when you hit an enemy with this, but it's not really a main source of damage. It's looking a huge damage, 16k, but believe me, it's not really that much compared how much of Kasunic Fish are actually dealing. So haste, the one thing that is helping me to navigate, to traverse the map. Every time I'm jumping, I also get a haste buff, and this is basically speeding up the farming for me at this point, which is still getting quite long. So we have you can burn another. This is also another source that can cast a burn curse. Right, that's why we have a burn curse over here. More damage, more ward and per heat, and health per heat. So another generation of ward, and it's dealing necrotic damage. Necrotic damage is my main source of damage here. All right, and that's like basically what the skills distribution, what item distribution and affixes look at for our builds. And for that build, it was very powerful one. In terms of damage and survivability, but then again, some enemies just can go and one-shot you nonetheless, despite you being so powerful. Indeed. That's all about build.